You burned my sister at dusk rim. Now I burn you. The alarm's wail tore through Halen Verge's auction bay, a shrill scream that drowned out the hum of rusted machinery. Red lights pulsed across dented steel walls, casting jagged shadows over the crowd of scavengers. Metal groaned as a Dominion ship punched through the void outside, its sleek hull slicing the darkness before it slammed down with a bone-rattling crunch. Dust swirled in the stale air, thick with the tang of burnt oil and star grit. Cale Draven stood rigid among the rabble, his calloused fingers tightening around the dagger in his pocket. The blade's carved name, Taryn, bit into his palm, a quiet promise he'd carried for years. His dark hair hung messy over sharp green eyes, scanning the ship's hatch as it hissed open. A figure emerged, tall and menacing, clad in black armor that gleamed with crimson veins of light. Thane Voris. Once human, now a machine's mockery of life. Behind him floated a stasis pod, its eerie green glow pulsing like a heartbeat. Inside lay an android, still as death, silver skin traced with glowing blue circuits. Thane's voice cut through the silence, cold and hollow. Kyle Draven, you crippled my plans at Dusk Rim. Save that scientist's scum. He stepped forward, boots clanging on the deck. This is your trap. Activate it, or die. The crowd held its breath. Kyle's lip curled, a flicker of defiance. In his lean frame, I don't play your games, Thane. His words were low, steady, a growl beneath the chaos, but his gaze locked on the android's face. Closed eyes, delicate features, too much like Taryn's. A jolt ran through him, sharp as a live wire. Around them, Halen Verge buzzed with his usual decay. The air reeked of molten slag from the smelters, a sour heat that clung to the skin. Scavengers muttered, their patched coats rustling as they edged back. This was their world, a drifting junkyard of Soroi wrecks, where humanity scraped by under Dominion's iron fist. Kyle knew the stakes. Thane wasn't here for charity. The bastard wanted something, and that pod was the bait. Refuse, and Halen burns, Thane said, tilting his head. A faint hum rose from his armor, a threat coiled tight. You cost me at Dusk Rim. That scientist was mine, until you torched my lab. His crimson eyes narrowed, a flicker of something personal beneath the steel. This is your reckoning. Cale's jaw clenched. Dusk Rim. The memory flared, unbidden, flames roaring through the colony. Taryn's scream as Dominion drones dragged him away. Cale had sabotaged their lab that night, saved some egghead by accident. Thane's sister, maybe. Didn't matter. All he'd cared about was Taryn, and he'd failed anyway. He forced his voice calm. You think I'd trust your junk? He nodded at the pod, heart thudding against his ribs. The android's face gnawed at him. Too familiar, too human. Thane laughed, a dry rasp like metal scraping stone. Trust? No. Survive. He tapped the pod, and its glow flared brighter, casting long shadows across the bay. She's stellar ember tech, a weapon you can't refuse. Activate her, or I'll slag this pit and everyone in it. The threat hung heavy. Cale's mind raced. Stellar Ember, Dominion's pet project, blending Soroi biotech with their trace system. He had seen the files once, stolen from a wrecked frigate. Neural graphs that ate memories, turned souls into drones. If this android was part of it, she was a bomb waiting to blow. But those eyes... A scavenger nearby coughed, breaking the tension. The crowd shifted, uneasy. Cale's grip on the dagger eased, but his resolve didn't. He'd survived Dominion's games before. He could do it again. Fine, he said, stepping forward. But if this bites me, you're next. Thane's helmet tilted, a smirk in his tone. Bold words, Junkrat. Open it. Cale approached the pod, boots thudding on the deck. The green light bathed his face, cold and alien. He pressed a hand to the release panel and it hissed. steam curling up like ghosts. The lid slid back. The android's eyes snapped open. Bright, blue, alive. She gasped, a sharp intake that echoed in the bay. "Who are you?" Her voice was soft, cutting through the din like a blade. Kyle froze. The question hung there, unanswered. Thane's laughter rumbled behind him. "Welcome to your cage, Draven." And then the pod's circuits flared red. The pod's red flare dimmed, leaving a faint hum in the air. Kyle Draven stepped back, his boots scraping the grimy deck of Halen Verge. The android's blue eyes tracked him, wide and searching, but he forced his focus away. Not now. Thane's shadow loomed behind, a silent dare. The crowd buzzed, scavengers whispering like static over a busted comms line. Halen Verge wasn't a place for heroes. It was a graveyard of steel and ash, a floating ruin stitched together from Saroy wrecks. Towering smelters roared in the distance, spitting black smoke that stung the lungs. Red surveillance beams swept from Dominion watchtowers, their glow cutting through the haze. People here lived in the cracks, ragged families huddled in shanties of scrap, trading bits of alien tech for stale rations. Kyle knew the drill. Survive. Don't ask questions. He was 32, lean from years of scavenging, with dark hair falling over green eyes that missed nothing. Once he'd been a gearhead at Dusk Rim, fixing rigs under starlight. Now he was just another junkrat, chasing ghosts. Taran, his kid brother, was out there, stolen by Dominion's claws. Revenge burned in Kale's chest, steady as a fusion's core. The dagger in his pocket, etched with Taran's name, was his anchor. "Move, Draven," Thane barked, his voice a metallic rasp. "She's your problem now." The executor turned, armor humming as he strode back to his ship. The pod's glow flickered unsteady. Kyle ignored him, crouching by the android. Her silver skin gleamed under the bay's harsh lights, circuits pulsing like veins. She was no ordinary drone, too alive, too fragile. "Can you stand?" he asked, keeping his tone even. Her head tilted, a faint whir from her joints. "I don't know." Her words trembled, soft as a breeze through a cracked hole. Before Kale could answer, a voice cut in, rough and familiar. "You're in deep now, kid." Corso shuffled forward, his coat patched with wire mesh. The old scrap dealer's face was a map of wrinkles, one eye hidden behind a cracked lens rig. He'd taught Kale the trade years back. How to spot Saroy, alloys, how to haggle without a blade. Dominion don't hand out gifts. That's a leash. Kale straightened, jaw tight. "I'll cut it." He trusted Corso, mostly. The old man knew Halen's underbelly better than anyone. Corso snorted, spitting rust-colored phlegm onto the deck. "Sure you will. Just don't drag me down with you." He glanced at the android, uneasy. "That's stellar ember junk. Seen the files. Trace tech. Eats your mind till you're a husk." "Trace?" Kyle's brow furrowed. He'd cracked Dominion logs once, found scraps about it. Neural graphs that turned people into tools. If Corso was right, this android was a walking bomb. A new figure pushed through the crowd, boots clanging with purpose. Jin. Her red hair flared under the lights, sharp against her patched armor. She was tall, wiry, a plasma pistol slung low on her hip. Her gray eyes locked on Kyle, hard and unreadable. "Heard you pissed off Dominion again," she said, smirking faintly. "Need a ride out?" Kyle tensed. Jin was Duskrim stock, ran with him back when they were kids before she turned bounty hunt. Last he'd heard, she'd worked Dominion gigs. "You're late," he shot back, testing her, fashionably. She nodded at the android. "That's trouble. I can get you clear, but it'll cost half your next haul." Her smirk faded, a flicker of guilt in her stance. Corso chuckled, low and dry. "Better take it, kid. Thane's not done with you." Kale's gut twisted. Jin's offer was a lifeline, but trust was a rare fuel out here. He glanced at the android. Ilara, he'd call her if she stuck around. Those eyes still haunted him, pulling at threads he couldn't cut. "Deal," he said finally, "but we move fast." Jin grinned, sharp as a blade. "Always do." A low rumble shook the bay, Thane's ship powering up. Kale's eyes narrowed. Whatever game Dominion was playing, it was just starting. The rumble of Thane's ship faded into a low growl, vibrating through Hallan Verge's steel bones. Kale Draven stood by the open pod, his breath steady despite the chaos swirling in his chest. The android, Alara, he decided, stared up at him, her blue eyes cutting through the dim bay like twin stars. Her silver frame trembled, circuits flickering as she tried to sit. The air around her buzzed, sharp with static and the faint scent of ozone. Cal knelt, his patched coat brushing the deck. "Easy," he said, voice low but firm. "You're not falling apart on me yet." He scanned her, too human, too alive for Dominion's cold tech. Those eyes gnawed at him, dragging up a memory he couldn't shake. Terran's face flashed in his mind, young, grinning, hands smudged with grease as they fixed a busted skiff under dusk rim's pale sky. "You'll always find me, right?" Terran had asked, voice bright with trust. Kale had nodded, sealing the promise with a laugh. Then the flames came. The drones. The loss. He blinked it away, jaw tight. Ilara wasn't Terran, but she was something, someone, caught in Dominion's web. Her head tilted, a soft whir from her neck. "Why? Help me." Her question hung there, fragile but piercing. Kyle hesitated. Why? Revenge? Hope? He didn't have an answer, not one he'd say aloud. "Because I can," he settled on, gruff but honest. He stood, offering a hand. "Up, we're moving." Alara gripped his arm, her touch cool and steady. She rose, shaky but determined, her circuits steadying with each breath. Kale's pulse kicked up. She wasn't just a machine, not fully. Jin's voice sliced through, sharp and urgent. "Kale," clocks ticking. She stood by the bay's edge, plasma pistol in hand, red hair catching the smelter's glow. Her gray eyes flicked to Alara. "Wary. That thing's a beacon. Dominion'll track it." "She's not a thing," Kale snapped. Surprising himself, he met Jin's stare, unyielding. "She's with us." Jin's lip twitched, a mix of doubt and respect. "Your funeral, Draven." She jerked her head toward the exit. "My rig's docked. Let's haul ass." Corso lingered nearby, his lens rig glinting as he watched Alara. "Careful, kid," he muttered, voice rough as gravel. "Dominion don't lose toys like that without a fight." He turned away, disappearing into the crowd with a limp. Kale's gut churned. Corso was right. Thane wouldn't let this slide. But those eyes, that spark in Alara, he couldn't walk away. Not again. He grabbed his gear, slinging a battered pack over his shoulder. "Stay close," he told Alara, guiding her toward Jin. The bay's red lights pulsed faster, a warning hum rising from the walls. Then the deck shuddered. A sharp crack split the air, Dominion drones breaching the outer hull. Kyle's hand flew to his dagger. "Run," he barked, shoving Alara forward as the first laser seared the dark. Laser fire scorched the air, a sizzling whine that lit up Hallan Verge's auction bay in streaks of white-hot death. Kyle Draven shoved Alara forward, her silver frame stumbling as the deck quaked beneath them. The Dominion drones had breached. The hull, a swarm of sleek, black orbs, red eyes glowing like embers in the dark. Their hum filled the space, a relentless buzz that drowned out the crowd's panicked shouts. "Move," Kyle yelled, his voice sharp over the chaos. He yanked his dagger free, its blade glinting as he slashed at a drone swooping too close. Sparks flew, metal clattered to the ground. Alara ducked, her blue eyes wide with something like fear or confusion. Jin sprinted ahead, her red hair a beacon in the haze. She spun, plasma pistol barking twice. Two drones burst into flames, raining molten scraps onto the deck. "This way," she shouted, boots pounding toward a rusted corridor. Her patched armor rattled, but her aim stayed steady. Kale grabbed Ilara's arm, pulling her along. Her steps faltered, joints whirring as she struggled to keep pace. The air stank of burnt circuits and sour sweat, thick with the grit of a junkyard under siege. Around them, Halen's scavengers scattered. Some ran, some cowered, their shanties trembling under the assault. They hit the corridor, its walls a patchwork of Soroi hull plates, dented and scarred. The drone's hum grew louder, closing in. Kale's chest burned, but he didn't slow. "Jin, where is your rig?" he called, voice rough with strain. "Dock 3. Keep up." Jin fired over her shoulder, a drone exploding in a shower of sparks. She glanced at Ilara, gray eyes narrowing. "She's slowing us down, Kale." "She's fine," he snapped, grip tightening on Ilara. But doubt gnawed at him. Then it happened. Her circuits flared, a sudden pulse of red light rippling from her chest. A high-pitched whine cut through the noise, and the drone zeroed in, their red eyes locking on her. What the hell was that? Jin skidded to a stop, pistol raised. Her tone sharpened, edged with panic. "She's a damn beacon." Ilara froze, staring at her glowing hands. "I didn't mean to." Her voice cracked, soft but raw. She pressed a palm to her chest, as if she could smother the signal. Kale's jaw clenched. Dominion's tracking her. He met Jin's glare, unyielding. "We deal with it later. Move." Jin cursed under her breath, a low growl. "You're gonna get us slagged." She turned, but her stance shifted, hesitant, conflicted. Kyle knew her past. Dusk Rim. She'd run when Dominion hit, left him and Taran in the fire. Guilt clung to her like rust, and now she teetered on the edge again. The corridor shook, a drone crashing through the ceiling. Dust rained down, gritty and choking. Kale shoved Ilara behind a jutting panel, slashing at the machine. Its red eye flickered, then died. He wiped sweat from his brow, green eyes blazing. "You're not a tool," he told Ilara, fierce and quiet. "Not to them. Not to me." Her gaze met his, steadying. "Thank you." A whisper, but it carried weight. Jin's voice broke through, urgent. "Kyle, now." She stood at the corridor's end, waving them toward a hatch. Beyond it, Dock 3 loomed. Jin's rig, a battered skiff, engines already humming. They bolted, the drone's buzz swelling behind. Kale's mind raced. Ilara's signal, Dominion's leash, was live. Thane was coming. He'd felt it in the Executor's laugh. That personal venom. Dusk Rim wasn't just a mission to Thane. It was a wound. The hatch slammed shut as they piled into the skiff. Jin hit the controls and the ship lurched free, metal groaning. Kale braced against a bulkhead, Ilara beside him. Then a sharp ping echoed from her chest. Another signal burst. Jin spun, eyes wild. "She's gonna kill us all." The skiff's engines roared, a deep growl that shook the cramped cockpit as it blasted free of Halen Verge. Kale Draven gripped a support strut, his knuckles white against the rusted metal. The hull rattled, vibrating through his boots. Outside, the void stretched black and endless, speckled with the faint glint of Soroi wrecks. Inside, the air buzzed with tension, thick as the oil stink clinging to their clothes. Jin hunched over the controls, her red hair plastered with sweat. She slammed a fist on the console, eyes darting to Ilara. "That signal's live, Kale. Dominion's got a lock." Her voice cracked, sharp with fury. The plasma pistol rested on her lap. A quiet threat. Ilara sat against the bulkhead, silver, hands pressed to her chest. Her circuits pulsed faintly, blue light flickering like a dying star. "I can't stop it," she said, her soft tone trembling. She looked at Kale, pleading. "I don't know how." Kale's green eyes narrowed. He dropped his pack, pulling out a battered toolkit, his lifeline from Dusk Rim days. "Then we figure it out." He knelt beside her, voice steady despite the ache in his chest. The skiff jolted, dodging a chunk of floating debris. Hold still. He pried open a panel on her side, revealing a tangle of Soroi circuits, alien, intricate, glowing with a life of their own. His fingers moved fast, tracing wires. "This is trace tech," he muttered, half to himself. "Dominion's mind killer. Copies your thoughts. Wipes your soul." He'd seen the aftermath. Empty husks in Duskrim's ruins. Terran's friends turned to drones. Jin glanced back, her grey eyes hard. "Stellar Ember Project. Heard whispers when I ran their jobs." She paused, jaw tight. They wanted weapons, living ones. Guess she's the prototype. Ilara's head snapped up, circuits flaring. Prototype? Her voice sharpened, a spark of something new. I remember pain. Voices. They wanted me to kill. She clutched her arms, trembling. I wouldn't. Kyle froze, a wire pinched between his fingers. "You fought them?" His tone softened, respect creeping in. He'd seen Dominion break stronger souls. Terran's laugh echoed in his mind. Bright, defiant, gone. "Yes," Ilara whispered. Her blue eyes met his. Steady now. They locked me away. Erased me. She touched her chest, where the signal pulsed. "Until you." The skiff lurched again, engines whining as Jin banked hard. "Sweet story," she snapped, voice dripping acid. "But that signal's a death sentence. We ditch her, or we're slag." She gripped the pistol, hesitating. Kyle stood, blocking Ilara. "No." His words hit like steel. "She's not their tool anymore. She's ours." He turned back, locking eyes with her. "You're with me, Ilara. We'll cut their leash." Her lips parted, a faint hum from her throat. "Ilara." She tested the name, a quiet strength building. "I'll try." Jin snorted, turning back to the controls. "You're called, Draven. Don't say I didn't warn you." The skiff steadied, stars streaking past the viewport. Kale worked fast, twisting a wire to dim the signal's glow. It dulled, but didn't die. He cursed under his breath. "It's deep. Need more time." His hands shook. Exhaustion, maybe, or the weight of her trust. A sharp beep cut through the cockpit. Jin's head whipped around, face paling. Incoming signature. Dominion frigate. They're close. Kale's grip tightened on his dagger. Time was up. The cockpit's warning beep turned into a shrill scream. Red lights flashing across Jin's console. The skiff shuddered, engines groaning as the void outside lit up with the frigate's shadow. A Dominion beast, all sharp angles and glowing. Thrusters. Kale Draven spun from Ilara's side, his green eyes locking on the viewport. The massive ship loomed, a predator closing on prey. "Brace," Jin yelled, yanking the controls. The skiff banked hard, metal creaking as it dove into the Soroi wreck field. Twisted hulls loomed around them, jagged spires of alien steel glinting in the dark. A blast rocked the ship, Dominion cannons, their roar echoing through the hull. Sparks sprayed from a panel, stinging Kale's arm. He steadied Ilara, her silver frame trembling against the bulkhead. "Hold on," he said, voice rough but calm. Her circuits pulsed faintly, the signal dulled, but still alive. Too alive. Jin's hands flew over the controls, dodging debris. "They're on us," she shouted, sweat beading on her brow. Her red hair whipped as she glanced back, grey eyes blazing. "I told you she'd kill us." "She's not the problem," Kale fired back, shoving his dagger into its sheath. He grabbed the toolkit, slamming it open. "Keep us flying. I'll fix this." The skiff jolted again, a near miss. Outside, drones swarmed from the frigate, black orbs with red eyes, cutting through the wrecks like wasps. Their lasers seared past, melting a Soroi fragment into slag. The air grew hot, thick with the tang of scorched metal. Kale worked fast, twisting wires in Ilara's chest. "Stay with me," he muttered, his fingers steady despite the chaos. Her blue eyes followed him, trusting. "You fought them once. You can again." "I'll try," she whispered, gripping his arm. Her voice steadied, a spark flickering beneath the fear. A sharp crack split the air, Jin's pistol firing at a drone through a cracked hatch. "Hurry, Draven," she snarled, ducking as sparks flew. "They're boarding soon." Then the comms crackled, a voice cutting through static. "Kyle, it's me." Corso. His rough growl was unmistakable, laced with shame. "They've got my boy. Had no choice." Kyle's blood ran cold. "Corso, you bastard." He didn't finish. The old man's betrayal hit like a punch, selling them out to Dominion, to Thane. "Forgive me, kid," Corso rasped. Sent a ping. "Last favor." The line went dead. Jin cursed, loud and raw. "He ratted us." She slammed the console, the skiff weaving through a collapsing wreck. "We're done." "No, we're not," Kale growled. He yanked a wire free. And Alara's signal dimmed, faint, but not gone. "Corso gave us a heads up. Use it." Jin's jaw tightened, but she nodded. "Fine. Hang on." She punched the thrusters, the skiff diving deeper into the field. Wreckage spun past, hulking Saroi ribs, glowing with faint green veins. A drone clipped the wing, metal screeching. Kyle braced Alara as the ship rocked. "You're more than their toy," he told her, fierce and low. "Prove it." Her circuits flared, a defiant pulse. "I will." Her voice held steel now, cutting through the noise. The skiff cleared a wreck, Jin's rig screaming with effort. For a moment, silence fell. Tense, fragile. Then a shadow swallowed the stars. The frigate loomed directly ahead, cannons charging. With a deep, ominous hum, Jin's hands froze on the controls, her breath hitching. "They've got us pinned." Kale's grip tightened on his dagger, eyes blazing. The game was up. Unless they could outrun death itself. The skiff's engines sputtered, a ragged cough that echoed through the cockpit as Jin nursed it away from the Dominion frigate's shadow. The wreck field stretched ahead, a jagged maze of Saroi hulks floating in the void. Kale Draven leaned against the bulkhead, his breath steadying after the chase. His patched coat hung heavy with sweat and grit, the dagger at his side a cold comfort. The air inside buzzed faintly, tinged with the sharp bite of ozone from Alara's circuits. Jin adjusted the controls, her red hair damp against her neck. "We're clear, for now," she said, voice tight. Her grey eyes flicked to the rear scanner where the frigate's silhouette shrank into the dark. "But they'll sniff us out again." She shot a glance at Alara, mistrust simmering. Alara sat still, silver hands clasped in her lap. Her blue eyes dimmed, thoughtful, as if chasing ghosts in her fractured mind. Kale watched her, his green gaze softening. She'd fought, however small, against Dominion's leash. That meant something. "We need a heading," he said, breaking the silence. His tone was firm, cutting through the hum of the skiff. "Somewhere they won't look." Jin snorted, a dry laugh. "Good luck." Dominion's got eyes everywhere. She tapped the console, pulling up a star map, faint lines crisscrossing the void. "Unless you've got a miracle stashed in that junk heap of a brain." Alara's head tilted, a soft whir from her joints. "Vortex Core 17, she said suddenly, her voice clear and steady. The words hung there, heavy with meaning. "It's in me. A code. A place." Kale's brow furrowed. "Vortex Core." He stepped closer, the deck creaking under his boots. "What's there?" Her circuits pulsed, a faint glow rippling across her chest. "Memories," she replied, slow and deliberate, "before they locked me away. I see ships, tall ones, not Dominion, older." She paused, eyes distant. "Saroi and humans. Together." The cockpit fell quiet, the engines hum a low undertone. Kale's mind raced. Saroi, ancient biotech masters, had clashed with Dominion centuries back. He'd heard tales growing up, whispered around Dusk Rim's campfires. Humans and Saroi, side by side, forging something fierce, a weapon, a hope, before Dominion crushed them. The flame beneath the stars. His mother had called it, her voice warm with pride. "You're saying they teamed up?" Jin asked, skepticism sharp in her tone. She leaned back, arms crossed. "Sounds like a fairy tale." "It's no tale," Kyle said, voice low and certain. He met Alara's gaze, a spark igniting in his chest. The Saroi built with life, circuits that think, feel. Dominion stole it, twisted it into trace. If vortex core's real, it's where they did it. Alara nodded, a faint hum rising from her. "I feel it. A pull, like a signal I can't shut off." Her hands tightened, resolute. "It's where I began." Jin's lip curled, but she didn't argue. "Fine. Plotting course." Her fingers danced over the controls, the map shifting to a distant blip. "Hope you're right, Draven." Kyle turned away, staring out the viewport. The wrecks outside glowed faintly, green veins of Saroi tech pulsing in the dark. A memory flickered. Terran's voice, young and eager, asking about the old wars. Did we win, Kale? He hadn't answered then. Maybe now he could. A soft ping broke his thoughts. Ilara's chest glowing again. Jin's head snapped up, eyes wide. "Tell me that's not what I think it is." The skiff's cockpit dart slashed through the void, engines whining as Jin pushed it deeper into the Saroi wreck field. Kyle Draven gripped the bulkhead, his green eyes scanning the dark beyond the viewport. The air inside buzzed with tension, sharp with the tang of burnt circuits and sweat. Ilara's chest pinged again, a soft chime that cut through the cockpit's hum. Her silver frame stiffened, blue eyes wide with alarm. Jin spun from the controls, her red hair flaring in the dim light. "Damn it, she's lit up again." Her voice cracked, raw with frustration. She slammed a fist on the console, gray eyes blazing. "We're dead if that keeps up." Kyle stepped forward, his boots thudding on the deck. "I'll fix it," he said, voice steady as steel. He knelt beside Alara, toolkit in hand, fingers already probing her circuits. "Stay calm. We've got this." Her gaze met his, steadying. "I trust you," she whispered, soft but firm. Her circuits pulsed, faint blue against the red glow of her signal. The skiff jolted, a deep rumble shaking the hull. Outside, the EA wrecks loomed, twisted Saroi husks, their green veins flickering like dying stars. Then it emerged, a massive shape, towering over the debris. A Saroi relic, part machine, part beast, its hull cracked open, revealing a maw of jagged metal teeth. Red eyes flared to life, locking on the skiff. "Brace!" Jin shouted, yanking the controls. The ship veered, metal groaning as the beast lunged. Its claws swiped, grazing the wing, a screech of tearing steel. Sparks flew, stinging Kale's arm. He cursed, blood trickling down his sleeve. "Keep it steady," he barked, twisting a wire in Alara's chest. The signal dimmed, but the beast roared, a bone-rattling bellow that vibrated through the cockpit. Jin fired her plasma pistol through the hatch, bolts sizzling into the creature's flank. It shrieked, green ichor spraying across the void. "Die, you bastard!" she yelled, her voice fierce and wild. The skiff rocked again, the beast's tail slamming the hull. Kale braced Alara, his arm throbbing. "Hang on," he growled, shielding her as the ship spun. Her circuits steadied, the red glow fading at last. "It's off," she breathed, relief trembling in her tone. She gripped his coat, silver fingers tight. "You did it." Kyle nodded, grim but sure. "Not done yet." He stood, wiping blood on his sleeve, and grabbed a jury-rigged launcher from his pack. A dusk-rim relic, cobbled from scraps. "Jin, get me a shot." She banked hard, dodging another swipe. The beast loomed in the viewport, its red eyes blazing. Kale aimed, steady despite the pain. "Eat this," he muttered, firing. The charge streaked out, a white-hot flare, and punched through the creature's chest. It roared, thrashing as green fire erupted, then went still, floating dead among The wrecks. The cockpit fell quiet, save for the engine's ragged hum. Jin slumped back, breathing hard. "Nice shot, Draven," she said, a faint smirk tugging her lips. "Maybe you're not useless." Kale wiped sweat from his brow, green eyes glinting. "Keep flying." He turned to Alara, softening. "You okay?" She nodded, circuits glowing steady blue. "Because of you," she said, her voice warm with gratitude. She touched his arm, a quiet bond forming. Jin's smirk faded, her gaze distant. "I ran at dusk rim," she admitted, low and rough. "Not this time." She gripped the controls tighter, resolve hardening. Kale met her eyes, a nod of trust. "Good." A faint rumble rolled through the skiff, distant, but growing. Jin's head snapped up, scanner beeping. "Frigate's back," she said, voice tight. "They're not letting go." The skiff's hull trembled, a low rumble rolling through the cockpit like a storm brewing in the void. Kale Draven stood by the viewport, his green eyes narrowed at the scanner's blinking dot. The Dominion frigate, back on their tail. The air inside stung with the sharp bite of scorched metal, remnants of the beast's green ichor still sizzling on the wing outside. His arm throbbed, blood seeping through his sleeve, but he ignored it. Jin hunched over the controls, her red hair plastered to her forehead. "They're gaining," she said, voice taut with strain. She punched the thrusters, coaxing a ragged groan from the engines. "We're a limpman target out here." Alara rose from the bulkhead, her silver frame steady now. Her blue eyes flicked to Kale, circuits glowing faintly. "It's my fault," she said, soft but firm. "The signal. I can't stop it fully." Kale shook his head, stepping closer. "Not your fault. Theirs." His tone cut through the hum, fierce and sure. "We'll outrun them. Always have." He gripped her shoulder, a quiet anchor in the chaos. The skiff darted through the Soroi wreck field, weaving past hulks that loomed like silent sentinels. Their green-veined hulls pulsed, a faint heartbeat of ancient tech. Jin's hands danced over the console, dodging debris with grim precision. "Vortex core's close," she muttered. "If we make it." A sharp hiss crackled from the comms, cutting through the tension. Thane's voice slithered in, cold and deliberate. "You can't hide, Draven." The words dripped with venom, a personal edge honed sharp. "You took everything at Dusk Rim. Now I take it back." Kale's jaw clenched. He hit the comms, voice low and defiant. "Come get me, Tin Man." He cut the line, turning away. Thane's grudge wasn't just duty. Dusk Rim had scarred him too. Aboard the frigate, Thane stood on the bridge, his black armor gleaming under stark lights. Crimson veins pulsed across his chest, a mockery of life. His visor reflected the wreckfield, a graveyard he'd turn into Kyle's tomb. He tapped a console, pulling up old data, stellar ember logs, his sister's name, Lyra, etched in cold text. She'd been the first prototype, her mind shredded by trace. After Kale's sabotage, Thane's fists tightened, metal creaking. "You'll pay," he whispered, a vow to her ghost. Back on the skiff, the scanner blared, a swarm of drones deploying from the frigate, red eyes cutting through the void. Jin cursed loud and sharp. "They're boxing us in." She banked hard, the ship shuddering as a laser grazed the hull. Sparks flew, a hot sting against Kale's cheek. He grabbed his launcher, checking the charge. "Keep us steady," he told Jin, voice calm despite the fire in his gut. He turned to Alara, urgent. "Anything else you remember? Anything we can use?" Her circuits flared, blue light rippling. "Vortex core. It's a forge," she said, voice steadying as memory surfaced. "They built me there. Weapons. Living ones." She paused, eyes locking on his, and something bigger, something they feared. Kale's pulse quickened, the flame beneath the stars. He breathed, the old tale clicking into place. If it was real, if it was there, they had a shot. The skiff rocked, a drone slamming the side. Metal screamed, the hull buckling. Jin fought the controls, sweat dripping. "We're losing her," she shouted, desperation cracking her resolve. Alara stumbled, gripping Kale's arm. "I can help," she said, fierce now. Her circuits blazed, a defiant hum rising. Before Kale could respond, the viewport filled with light. Vortex core. 17 loomed ahead, a rusted titan in the dark. Then the frigate fired, a cannon blast tearing through the void. The skiff spun, alarms wailing, and darkness swallowed them whole. The skiff's cockpit spun into silence, a hollow void swallowing the chaos. Kale Draven slumped against a crumpled bulkhead, his ears ringing from the frigate's blast. The air hung heavy, thick with the acrid sting of fried circuits and blood. Red emergency lights flickered, casting jagged shadows over the wreckage. His arm throbbed, a deep gash weeping crimson down his sleeve. Pain clawed at him, but his green eyes stayed sharp, searching. Alara lay sprawled nearby, her silver frame dented, circuits dim. The blast had thrown her hard, and now she stirred, blue eyes fluttering open. "Kyle!" Her voice rasped, faint, as a whisper in the wind. She reached for him, trembling. He crawled to her, ignoring the fire in his chest. "I'm here," he said, rough but steady. His hand found hers, cool metal against his calloused skin. The skiff groaned around them, a dying beast adrift in Vortex Core 17's shadow. Jin coughed, dragging herself from the shattered controls. Her red hair hung in tangles, blood streaking her cheek from a cut. "We're slag," she croaked, voice raw with defeat. She clutched her side, wincing. "Frigate's got us dead." Kale's gaze flicked to the viewport. Vortex Core loomed, outside. A rusted Saroi forge, its spires jagged against the stars. They'd made it, but not whole. The skiff was a wreck, engines silent, hull breached. Dominion drones buzzed closer, their red eyes piercing the dark like vultures circling a corpse. Thane's voice crackled through the comms, cold and triumphant. "You're finished, Draven." A low laugh rumbled, sharp with hate. "You burned my sister at Dusk Rim. Now I burn you." Kale's gut twisted. Lyra, Thane's sister, must have been the scientist he'd saved, only to lose her in the chaos. He'd torched that lab to save Terran, not knowing the cost. Now it stared him down. He turned to Alara, her circuits flickering. "They've hacked you," he said, voice low and urgent. "That signal, it's their leash." His mind raced, landing on a brutal truth. "I can stop it, but it'll cost me." Her eyes widened, searching his. "Cost you? What?" Her tone trembled, a thread of fear weaving through. "Terran," he admitted, the name a knife in his throat. He saw his brother's face, grinning, grease-smeared, promising to stick together. "I'd have to give him up. My memories. To break their hold." The cockpit fell still, the weight of it crushing. Jin stared, gray eyes soft for once. "Kyle, you can't," she said, voice breaking. "He's all you've got left." "He's gone," Kyle snapped, harsher than he meant. He softened, looking at Alara. "But you're here, and we're not done." Alara gripped his hand, tighter, circuits flaring blue. "Don't," she pleaded, soft but fierce. "I'm not worth it." "You are," he said, resolute. He saw Terran again, small, scared, reaching out as drones took him. "I promised I'd find him, but I can't lose you too." Jin staggered closer, wincing with each step. "Do it then," she urged, voice thick. "I ran at Dusk Rim. Lost everything. Don't let me lose you too." Kyle nodded, a grim fire igniting in his chest. He grabbed his toolkit, hands steady despite the pain. "Hold on," he told Alara, voice a lifeline. A drone's laser seared through the hole, a deafening crack splitting the silence. The skiff lurched, and Kale's whirled, tilted. Time was out. The skiff's hull screamed as another laser tore through, a white-hot streak that lit the cockpit in blinding fury. Kyle Draven ducked, shielding Alara as debris rained down, sharp metal shards clattering against the deck. His arm burned, blood soaking his sleeve, and a fresh gash seared across his chest. Pain roared through him, but he gritted his teeth, toolkit clutched tight. The air choked with smoke, a bitter haze that stung his lungs. "Stay down," he barked, voice rough over the chaos. Alara pressed against him, her silver frame trembling, circuits flickering blue, her blue eyes locked on his, wide with trust and fear. Jin staggered to her feet, plasma pistol blazing through the breach. "They're swarming," she shouted, her red hair wild in the flickering light. A drone burst into sparks under her. Fire, but more surged in, red eyes glowing like hellfire in the dark. Her gray eyes flashed with desperation, blood dripping from her cheek. "Kale, now?" He nodded, grim and focused. The drone's hum swelled, a relentless drone that shook the wrecked skiff. Vortex Core 17 loomed outside, a rusted Saroi forge, its spires clawing at the stars. Thane's frigate hovered beyond, cannons charging with a deep, ominous rumble. Time was a noose tightening fast. Kale slammed the toolkit open, wires spilling out. "Hold still," he told Alara, his hands steady despite the blood and pain. He tore into her chest panel, fingers tracing the trace circuits. Saroi tech twisted by Dominion's hand. "I'm cutting their leash." Her voice wavered, soft but fierce. "You'll lose him." Taryn. She knew what it meant, her grip tightening on his arm. "I know," Kyle said, low and raw. He saw Taryn's face, grinning, grease-streaked, promising forever. The memory flared bright, then dimmed as he gripped a pulsing wire. "But I won't lose you." He yanked it free, feeding his own neural link, a dusk rim trick into her system. Pain stabbed his skull, a white-hot spike. Taryn's laugh faded, swallowed by static. Alara gasped, circuits blazing blue, then green. A surge ripped through her, a living pulse that shook the cockpit. "Kyle!" she cried, her voice sharp with power. She stood, silver frame glowing, and raised a hand. Energy arced from her, a crackling wave that slammed the drones back. They screeched, exploding in green fire against the hull. Kale stumbled, clutching his chest. Blood dripped, his vision swimming, but he grinned. Wild, defiant. "That's it," he rasped, awe in his voice. The flame. Thane's roar burst through the comms, furious and unhinged. "No!" Frigate fired again, a cannon blast rocking the skiff. Jin dove, tackling Kyle as the deck buckled. "Stay alive, damn it!" she yelled, her tone fierce with loyalty. Alara turned, circuits blazing brighter. "I won't let them take you," she said, her voice steel now. She thrust both hands forward, and a torrent of green flame erupted. Saroi biotech unleashed, tearing through the drone swarm. The void lit up, a storm of light and ruin. The frigate loomed closer, Thane's silhouette visible on the bridge. His armor pulsed red, a mirror to Alara's green. "You can't have her," he bellowed, slamming, a fist on his console. The cannons charged again, a deafening hum shaking the stars. Kyle pushed up, blood pooling beneath him. "Jin, get us out," he shouted, voice breaking with effort. His launcher lay crushed, useless. He grabbed Alara's arm, steadying her, hit him, hard. She nodded, circuits roaring. A final surge blasted from her, a spear of green fire that punched through the frigate's hull. Metal screamed, flames licking the breach. Thane's voice cut off, mid-curse, static swallowing his rage. The frigate recoiled, drifting wounded, into the dark. The skiff groaned, engines flickering back to life. Jin hauled herself to the controls, hands shaking. "We're not dead yet," she muttered, a grim smirk breaking through. Kale sank back, chest heaving. Taryn was gone, erased from his mind, a hollow ache where his brother's face had been. He looked at Alara, her glow fading. "Worth it," he whispered, voice faint. A sharp clang rang out, something heavy striking the hull. Jin's eyes widened. What now? The skiff's cockpit settled into an uneasy quiet, the clang against the hull fading to a dull echo. Kale Draven slumped against the bulkhead, his chest a furnace of pain. Blood pooled beneath him, dark and sticky, seeping from the gash across his ribs. His arm hung limp, trembling with each ragged breath. The air tasted bitter, smoke and metal, a graveyard scent clinging to the wreckage. Alara knelt beside him, her silver frame steady now. Her circuits glowed a faint blue, the green fire of her surge dimmed but alive. She pressed a hand to his wound, cool against his fevered skin. "You're hurt," she said, voice soft but laced with worry. Her blue eyes searched his, bright, with something new. Gratitude, maybe hope. "I'll live," Kale rasped, forcing a weak grin. His green eyes flickered, dim but unbowed. Taran's face was gone, erased, a void where his brother's laugh once lived. The ache cut deeper than the wound, but he shoved it down. "You did it, Alara. Gave us a chance." She nodded, circuits humming faintly. "Because of you," she whispered, her grip tightening. "I felt it, the flame. It's real." Her voice steadied, a spark of purpose igniting. Jin staggered from the controls, her red hair matted with sweat and blood. She clutched her side, wincing, but her gray eyes shone with grim relief. "Frigate's limping off," she said, voice rough but firm. "Engines are holding, barely. We're not dust yet." She smirked, a flicker of her old edge. "Nice trick, tin girl." Alara tilted her head, a faint whir from her joints. "Not tin," she corrected. "Soft but sharp. Alive." Kale chuckled, a dry sound that turned into a cough. "Damn right." He shifted, pain flaring, but his gaze stayed on her. She'd burned through Dominion's chains, Soroi tech, human will, fused into something fierce. The flame beneath the stars. He'd lost Taran to light it, but the trade felt right. Jin sank into the pilot's seat, hands shaking as she checked the scanner. "Vortex cores still out there," she muttered, nodding at the viewport. The forge loomed, a rusted titan, its spires glinting under starlight. "Whatever's inside, Thane didn't want us near it." "He's not done," Kale said, voice low and certain. Thane's rage, tied to Lyra, to Dusk Rim, wouldn't fade. The Executor had retreated, but not surrendered. Kale's hand brushed his dagger, the carved Taran, a ghost under his fingers. "Neither are we." Alara's circuits pulsed, a steady rhythm. "I saw it," she said, slow and clear. "The forge. They feared what they made there. Us. Living weapons." She paused, eyes locking on Kale's. "And something more." Jin's brow furrowed, but she didn't press. "Rest up, Draven," she said instead, tone softening. "I'm not dragging your corpse around." She turned back to the controls, guiding the skiff toward the forge's shadow. Kale leaned back, exhaustion crashing over him. His mind was a haze. Taran's voice lost, but a flicker of purpose remained. He'd find it again, somehow. "Keep us flying," he murmured, eyes drifting shut. A soft thud broke the silence, something shifting in the cargo hold. Jin's head snapped around, pistol in hand. "Tell me that's just junk settling," she said, voice tight with suspicion. Alara's circuits flared, a warning hum rising. Kale forced his eyes open, hand reaching for his dagger. Something, or someone, was still with them. The skiff limped through the void, its engines coughing a weary hum as it drifted toward an uncharted world. Kale Draven sat slumped in the cockpit, his chest bandaged tight with scavenged cloth. Pain pulsed with each breath, a dull fire beneath the blood-crusted gash. His green eyes stared out the viewport, tracking the planet below. A gray orb shrouded in starlit mist, its surface jagged with cliffs and faint lights. The air inside buzzed faintly, cool and sharp with the tang of recycled oxygen. Jin eased the controls, her red hair tucked behind her ears. "Engines are holding," she said, voice steady but tired. Her gray eyes flicked to the scanner, tracing a weak signal from the surface. "Something's down there. Not Dominion. Too quiet." She rubbed her bandaged side, wincing slightly. Alara stood by Kale, her silver frame gleaming under the cockpit's dim glow. Her circuits pulsed a soft blue. "Steady now. Free of Dominion's leash." "A signal," she murmured, tilting her head. "Old. Like me." Her blue eyes met his, a quiet strength shining through. Kale shifted, wincing as his arm brushed the bulkhead. "Survivors, maybe," he said, voice rough but hopeful. Taran's absence gnawed at him, a blank space where his brother's face should be. But Alara's spark kept him grounded. "Worth a look." The skiff descended, shuddering through the planet's thin atmosphere. Frost glittered on the viewport, a soft crackle against the glass. Below, cliffs parted to reveal a hidden valley. Metal shacks nestled under rocky overhangs, their roofs patched with Soroy's scraps. Faint lights flickered, warm against the gray dust. Jin's brow furrowed, a mix of doubt and curiosity. "Looks like a camp," she said, easing the ship down. The landing gear scraped stone, a low groan echoing as they touched down. "Whoever's here, they've been hiding a while." Kyle stood, leaning on Alara for support. "Let's find out," he said, his tone firm despite the strain. He grabbed his dagger, its carved Taran, a weight he couldn't place. A Ozing promise he'd lost, but still felt. "Stay sharp." The hatch hissed open, spilling cold air into the cockpit. It bit at Kale's skin, laced with the faint scent of rust and damp earth. They stepped out, boots crunching on gravel. The valley stretched quiet, save for the distant hum of generators. Shadows moved ahead, figures emerging from the shacks, their silhouettes lean and wary. Alara's circuits flared, a soft hum rising. "They're like us," she whispered, her voice tinged with wonder. "Not machines, not Dominion." She took a step forward, unafraid. Jin's hand rested on her pistol, gray eyes scanning the figures. "Friendly or not, we're strangers here," she said, low and cautious. "Keep your guard up." A figure approached, tall and weathered, clad in a coat patched with Saroy plating. His face was lined, eyes sharp under a hood. He stopped, studying them. Kyle's bloodied form, Ilara's glow, Jin's tense stance. "You're not Dominion," he said, voice gravelly but calm. "Who sent you?" Kale straightened. "Pain be damned. No one," he replied, steady and clear. "We're looking for answers. Vortex Core 17. Heard of it?" The man's eyes narrowed, a flicker of recognition. "Maybe," he said, slow and guarded. "Depends who's asking." Before Kale could answer, a sharp crack rang out. A rifle shot from the cliffs above. Jin spun, pistol raised as the figures tensed. "Ambush," she snapped, voice tight. The rifle shot cracked through the valley, a sharp echo bouncing off the cliffs. Kale Draven dropped to a crouch, his dagger flashing free as gravel bit into his knees. Pain flared in his chest, the bandage gash screaming, but his green eyes stayed locked on the shadows above. The air snapped cold, thick with the damp scent of stone and rust. Jin spun beside him, plasma pistol raised, her red hair whipping in the wind. "Cover," she barked, voice taut with adrenaline. She aimed at the cliffs, gray eyes scanning for movement. A faint hum rose from her weapon, ready to bite. Alara stepped forward, her silver frame glowing faintly blue. "Wait," she said, calm but firm. Her circuits pulsed, a steady rhythm cutting through the chaos. "They're not attacking." She tilted her head, listening to something beyond the wind's howl. The tall figure in the Soroy-patched coat raised a hand, his weathered, face unreadable. "Hold fire," he called, voice rough but steady. Shadows shifted on the cliffs, figures lowering rifles, their barrels glinting under starlight. He turned back to Kale, eyes narrowing. "You're bleeding." And she's glowing. Explain. Kale stood wincing as he sheathed his dagger. Name's Kale, he said, keeping his tone even. This is Jin. Elara. We're running from Dominion. Hit Vortex Core 17. Looking for answers. Blood seeped through his bandage, but he held the man's gaze. You? The man studied him, then nodded slowly. Rin, he said, clipped and cautious. We're what's left, survivors. Dominion doesn't know this rock exists. He gestured to the shacks behind him. Metal huts patched with Soroi holes, their faint lights warm against the gray cliffs. Been here since the wars. Jin lowered her pistol, but her stance stayed tense. Wars? She asked, skepticism sharp in her voice. Soroi wars. That's centuries back. Rin's lip twitched, a grim half-smile. Time don't mean much when you're hiding, he replied. He glanced at Elara, curiosity flickering. She's Soroi tech, like the old ones. Alara's circuits flared, a soft hum rising. I was made at Vortex Core, she said, voice clear and steady. A weapon, but I fought them. Her blue eyes met Rin's, unflinching. I'm free now. Rin's gaze softened, a spark of respect breaking through. Good, he said, low and firm. We could use that. He turned, waving them forward. Come. You're not safe out here. The trio followed, boots crunching on gravel as the colony opened up. Shacks lined the valley, their walls etched with faint Soroi runes, green veins pulsing like a heartbeat. People emerged, lean, weathered, clad in patched gear. Eyes watched warily, hands resting on makeshift blades and rifles. The air buzzed with quiet life, generators humming, the faint clatter of tools. Kale's chest tightened, a flicker of hope stirring. You know Tyron? He asked, voice rough with need. The name felt hollow now, a ghost he couldn't place. Rin paused, turning back. Tyron, his brow furrowed, searching Kale's face. Not a man. A code. Our signal means fire lives. Been calling others like us. He hesitated, then added, You're not the first to ask. Jin's eyes narrowed, suspicion flaring. Others, she pressed, her hand brushing her pistol. Who? Before Rin could answer, Elara stiffened, circuits flashing red for a split second. Dominion, she whispered, voice tight with alarm. They're watching, somewhere close. Kale's hand flew to his dagger, pain forgotten. How? He demanded, green eyes blazing. Rin's face hardened, a shadow crossing it. Traitor, he said, low and bitter. One of ours. Sold us out. He drew a blade from his coat, sharp and worn. And they're here. A low rumble shook the ground, distant but rising fast. Dust trickled from the cliffs. Something was coming. The rumble grew into a roar, a deep tremor shaking the valley's stone floor. Kale Draven tightened his grip on his dagger, the carved Terran, a faint pulse under his fingers. Dust rained from the cliffs, gritty and cold as the hidden colony braced for impact. His chest burned, blood seeping through his bandages, but his green eyes blazed with unyielding fire. The air snapped with tension, sharp with the scent of rust and fear. Jin dropped into a crouch, plasma pistol humming in her hands. They're here, she shouted, her red hair whipping as she scanned the cliffs. Her gray eyes flickered with resolve. No running this time. Elara stepped forward, her silver frame glowing blue, circuits pulsing steady and fierce. I feel him, she said, voice clear over the chaos. Drones, close. Her blue eyes met Kale's, a silent vow shining. Through Rin spun, his Soroi-patched coat flaring. Form up, he bellowed, voice cutting through the din. The colonists surged, men and women, young and old, grabbing rifles and blades forged from scraps. Their shacks glowed faintly, Soroi runes flaring green against the gray dusk. They won't take us alive. A shadow crested the cliffs. Dominion drones, their red eyes blazing like a swarm of angry stars. Lasers seared down, scorching the gravel with a sizzling hiss. Kale dove, pulling Alara behind a shack as a blast tore the ground apart. Shrapnel pinged off the walls, a sharp sting against his arm. "Stay low," he growled, shoving his pain aside. He peeked out, spotting Rin, rallying his people. The colonists fought back, rifle cracks and shouts echoing as drones fell in bursts of sparks. Jin fired from cover, her pistol barking twice. A drone spun out, crashing in a heap of molten steel. "Kyle, we're pinned," she yelled, voice raw, but steady. She ducked as a laser grazed her shoulder, hissing through her armor. Alara's circuits flared, green light rippling from her chest. "The flame," she said, fierce and urgent. "I can use it." She stood, ignoring Kale's grab, and raised her hands. A surge erupted, green fire arcing through the air, slamming into the drone swarm. They shrieked, metal twisting as the Saroi biotech burned through their cores. Kale watched, awe cutting through his pain. "That's it," he breathed, a grin breaking free. He staggered up, dagger in hand, and joined the fight, slashing a slate drone that got too close. Sparks flew, stinging his face. Rin charged beside him, blade flashing. "Terran's signal brought you," he shouted, cutting down a drone. "Fire lives, because of this." He tossed Kyle a small device, a Saroi core, its green veins pulsing like Alara's light. Kyle caught it, the weight familiar yet strange. "Terran's not a man?" he asked, voice rough with realization. The name wasn't his brother, it was their hope, their call. "No," Rin said, grim but proud. "It's us." The last drone fell, a smoking ruin at Alara's feet. Silence settled, broken only by the crackle of flames and the colonists' heavy breaths. Jin lowered her pistol, chest heaving. "We're clear," she said, a faint smirk tugging her lips. "For now." Kale clutched the core, its glow warm in his hand. Terran was gone, lost to his mind. But this felt right. The flame beneath the stars, he murmured, looking at Alara. "You're proof it's real." She smiled. "Circuits. Steady." "We all are," she said, soft but strong. Rin stepped forward, offering a nod. "Stay," he said. "Fight with us. Dominion's coming, bigger this time." Kale met his gaze, then Jin's. She shrugged, resolute. "I'm in," she said, voice firm. "No more running." He turned the core over, its light flaring bright, a beacon in the dusk. "We're not done," he said, voice a vow. The valley glowed, alive with their fire. A faint hum rose from the cliffs. Thane's frigate, distant but closing. The war wasn't over.